Acorn Newspapers, publishers of the Greenwich Post, New Canaan Advertiser, the Darien Times, the Ridgefield Press, the Weston Forum, the Wilton Bulletin, the Reading Pilot, the Lewisboro Ledger, the Monroe Courier, the Eastern Courier, the Trumbull Times, Fairfield Sun, Shelton Herald, the Stratford Star, the Milford Mirror, and the Valley Gazette.
Herson, Acorn, and HANradio.com. The leader in local news, sports, arts, and entertainment in southwestern Connecticut.
This is your coffee break on HANradio.com.
It's Tuesday, May 12th, and this is your coffee break live on HANradio.com and streaming on the HAN network. I'm Kate Chaplinsky here with John Kovach. Don Eng is out. He was just hired to manage the Shelton Bear Facebook page, so we're really happy for him.
He's going to be very busy given the number of sightings.
Right. He's helping the bear. I mean, the bear's busy, and, he hired someone to help him out.
He'll do more than the bare minimum on that.
Nice one. Well, we have a lot of news, local sports, and weather that you need to know today, including an area woman who was one of the victims of a suspected Connecticut serial killer who has just been identified by police sources. John, we also have a lot more to get to, including a prom dress code controversy that is ongoing in Shelton, making national news.
Another year, another prom, another controversy in Shelton.
But first, you are filling in for Don at the Traffic and Weather Command Center.
I am, and I'm seeing road work in Wallingford on I-91 North at exit 14. I am seeing road work in Shelton on Route 8 North by exit 14. That's Neen Street. Road work in Westport, 95 North at exit 18. That's the Sherwood Island connector. Road work in New Haven, 91 North at exit 2. That's Hamilton Street. Some earlier delays cleared. There was some reports of a crash not long ago, Westport Fairfield area on 95. I have not seen any confirmation from DOT of that, but if you're caught in delays there, then there is a crash there. Taking a look outside our Shelton studios, 71 and cloudy outside our studio right now. It's going to push 90 today. Kate, I think we went straight from winter to summer. Ooh. Partly cloudy, no chance of precipitation today. Tonight, lows in the low 50s, low humidity, partly cloudy. Tomorrow, the wind picks up and the temperature drops, high only 65. Currently 71 in Shelton, 74 in Ridgefield, 62 in Fairfield on your coffee break.
Thanks, John. Well, getting to some of the news this morning, a 12-year-old Naugatuck girl drowned in the Monday afternoon at Linden Park. 12-year-old Jada Ivory slipped into the water and never resurfaced, according to police. Naugatuck School Superintendent Sharon Locke said Jada Ivory was a 7th grader at the City Hill School. Counselors are at the school today and will remain as needed. Details on any memorial services have not yet been released, according to Locke. Police, along with several fire departments, responded to Linden Park around 4:30 Monday. They said a dive team pulled Jada from the water just after 6. She was taken to Waterbury Hospital where she was pronounced dead.
Awful story, Kate.
Yeah.
In a Milford courtroom yesterday, saying rehabilitation was out of the question, a judge sentenced Matthew Pugh to the maximum sentence allowed for the 2006 murder of Alexandra Doucet in Milford. Judge Denise Markle sentenced Pugh to 60 years in jail and 20 years for burglary to be served concurrently. In imposing the sentence, Markle recalled weeks of testimony that painted a horrific and violent murder scene, and she said the brutality of the crime was one of the factors she considered as she contemplated the sentence. The judge also reflected on Pugh's past, which includes arrest starting at the age of 16 on drug and other charges, and a pending case involving a crime that took place after Doucet's murder, in which Pugh is alleged to have shot a victim during a burglary. The most damning evidence, the judge told Pugh, came from his own mouth. Jill Dion in the Milford Mirror reports that against his lawyer's advice, Pugh testified on his own behalf during the trial, And the judge said that when he did that, he told the courtroom what kind of person he is. To quote the Milford Mere story, someone with no sense of right or wrong and no respect for the law. She also said Pugh was defiant. Doucet's father, John, said Pugh deserved death, saying an eye for an eye. It's right out of the Bible. State's Attorney Kevin Lawler, who prosecuted the case, also agreed with the sentence.
3 points. Judge Markle's a very experienced judge, and it's not every day that you get someone who combines committing the most heinous act imaginable with a criminal record that's that reprehensible. So I think that based on all the factors as we outline them, I think it's the appropriate sentence and it's a just verdict based on everything considered.
Police arrested Pugh in 2012 and charged him with 1 count of murder and 1 count of first-degree burglary in connection with the May 19, 2006 death of Alexandra Doucet. He pleaded not guilty to the charges, but a jury convicted him of both murder and burglary in March. Alexandra was discovered dead in her home on Booth Bay Street in Milford. Her mother found her beaten in the basement.
Thanks.
Coffee break time. 11:07.
Thanks, John. I know we want to get Jill Dion of the Milford Mirror in on Behind the News to just talk about covering that murder trial.
It sounded from talking to Jill a little bit that it was a very emotional case,
Right.
and that the victim's family obviously very angry, very emotional.
Well, in other news, the man suspected of killing at least 7 people and burying their bodies behind a New Britain shopping center has been identified as 45-year-old William Devin Howell, who is currently imprisoned at Garner Correctional Institution on unrelated manslaughter charges. Police announced a major update yesterday in the investigation of the discovery of new human remains found over the past few weeks at a location where partial remains of 3 women were discovered in 2007. While the 3 bodies found in 2007 were previously identified as 53-year-old Diane Cusack, 23-year-old Joyvaline Martinez, and 40-year-old Mary Jane Menard, New Britain Police Chief James Wardwell said on Monday the total number of bodies recovered at this time is at least 7. Those remains have been turned over to the Office of the Chief Medical Examiner to be identified. On Monday, police identified one of the newly discovered victims as Melanie Ruth Camellini, born on May 11, 1973. The Seymour resident was a mother of 2 when she went missing from Waterbury in January 2003, and on the day it was announced that her remains were found, she would have celebrated her 42nd birthday. The police chief said, "It's appropriate we remember Melanie today and begin the process of bringing her home to her family." The investigation into the skeletal remains began on August 20th, 2007, when a local resident reported finding a body in the woods. He was scouting for hunting locations in the wooded area behind 593 Hartford Road in New Britain. There are 15 acres of wooded, swampy area behind a shopping mall on Hartford Road. Coffee break time is 11:08.
Stratford firefighters responded Sunday evening to a fire at a business on Surf Avenue. Fire Marshal Brian Lampart said the fire at Energy Tech, 400 Surf Avenue, was reported around 11:20 Sunday night by a passing motorist who called 911. The caller told them that smoke was coming from the one-story home improvement business. 5 engine companies, a ladder truck, and the on-duty assistant chief went to the scene. Firefighters said the fire appeared to start in a 40-gallon garbage can and then extended up and through the building's roof, causing several $1,000s worth of damages. No one was injured, Lampart said. The cause of the fire is under investigation, and the building is closed until the building official can deem it safe for re-entry. Fire departments from Bridgeport and Milford provided station coverage as Stratford firefighters dealt with that fire on Surf Avenue.
Thanks, John. Well, Shelton school administrators say they are not backing down on a prom dress code that is causing controversy and getting national attention. The drama in Shelton started Friday when Shelton headmaster Beth Smith sent word to students reminding them that they can't wear anything too revealing to prom. About 7 girls were told they'd have to find dresses that showed less skin. Students said Smith's announcement and the specific prohibitions came as a surprise and at a late date. The prom is on Saturday. More than 500 students had bought their $90 tickets as of Monday. Students and parents signed permission slips that outlined rules and regulations for the prom, but students say the rules were vague, calling for appropriate formal dress and warning that students dressed inappropriately would be sent home without a refund. Yesterday, Superintendent Freeman Burr held a press conference Monday saying that so far 549 students have purchased tickets, and of those, 313 are female students. Burr said that all students sign a contract before they purchase their prom tickets, and that includes the dress code. Burr said in part, obviously, we understand that prom attire is different from what students wear to school on a daily basis, but that we will not allow dresses that are considered to overexpose one's body. So you can see we have a photo up right now if you're watching us of the press conference that Brad Durrell took. It's just seeing that picture just brings me back to 2011 when I was taking pictures of the media coverage of the James Tate prom scandal at Shelton High. So seems they just can't avoid it.
And remind those who might not be familiar with.
Well, James Tate was a senior, honor student, athlete, very good kid, never been in trouble, and he decided to do one of those really popular promposals. And so he went to the school while it was closed and kind of hung up a sign outside the school that said, asked his friend if she would go to prom with him. Since that was technically trespassing, he was told he couldn't go to the prom. And eventually so much coverage. I mean, he was on Jimmy Kimmel. He was everywhere. He was on the Today Show. And eventually they relented and he was able to go to prom. I think I actually went to his tux fitting. That's what a big story it was, which is just so hilarious. But yeah, this, they just can't seem to avoid it. I don't know. I don't know how I feel about this, telling these students a few days before prom, and also just dress codes in general tend to be a little sexist in nature.
Yeah. They do, and I understand if they have a dress code, don't do the reminder 8 days before the prom.
Right.
Do it 2 months, 3 months before the prom. I mean, when does dress shopping begin?
Right. Months. I mean,
Right.
I'm sure they were doing it over the winter, but, our friends at the Valley Indy have been comparing it to Footloose. So
It's hard not to make that comparison. It's hard not to chuckle.
Well, John, we are overdue for another look at the roads.
Well, Kate, we have some road work clearing, such as that on 91 North at Exit 2 up in New Haven, but that's been replaced by road work on 91 South at Exit 9 in North Haven. Also, road work on the Merritt Parkway South at Exit 44, that's Black Rock Turnpike in Fairfield. Earlier road work cleared in Milford, that's at High Street, Exit 37. Road work in Wallingford still, 91 North at Exit 15, and road work still in Shelton on Route 8 North at Exit 14. Taking a look outside, temperatures climbed 4 degrees in the last few minutes, Kate. It's up to 75 outside our Shelton studio. Feels like 75. You can see a little bit of wind. It's a little bit cloudy. Today, partly cloudy, but it's going to push 90. It's become summer already. We've skipped spring. Tonight, it'll drop some 35 degrees almost down into the mid to low 50s. Partly cloudy, 20% chance of some precipitation tonight. Wednesday, partly cloudy, windy, high in the mid-60s. Currently 75 in Shelton, 77 in Ridgefield, and a comfortable 71 on the coast in Fairfield.
All right, John, thanks. Well, when we come back, we are going to have a look at this day in history, as well as bringing Rob Adams on to talk about local sports. So that's coming up after this.
Your child has fallen and broken his arm. You need to see an orthopedist fast. Think Coastal Ortho Express in Norwalk. Don't wait hours in the ER. Save a trip and money by going straight to an orthopedic specialist at Coastal Ortho Express Urgent Care in Norwalk. No appointment necessary. Coastal Ortho Express Urgent Care, 203-845-2070. Open Monday through Saturday in the iPark building at 761 Main Avenue in Norwalk, or call 203-845-2070. Fast.
Spring is finally in the air and our favorite season is upon us. The Dock Shop is all geared up with a great selection of fishing tackle, custom fishing rods, and all the latest accessories to replenish your tackle box. The Dock Shop has also just brought out the newest spring fashion apparel from Montauk Tackle, Altered Latitudes, Kaylee Smith, and Margaritaville Apparel. Need some new foul weather gear for those chilly spring mornings? The Dock Shop is loaded up with Grundens and Stormer in a variety of styles and sizes. Ladies, we've got you covered as well, with spring apparel and the newest designs of coastal jewelry, bags, and accessories. Boater, beach bum, fisherman, or simply love the New England coast, this is a unique place to shop. The Dock Shop, 51 Tokenique Road, Darien, Connecticut. Visit us at dockshop.com.
Healthy, confident smiles begin at Stratford Orthodontics. Conveniently located on Main Street, we are Stratford's hometown orthodontist. We offer the latest in orthodontic technology, including Damon braces and Invisalign. We always accept new patients. Call today to schedule a complimentary consultation. 203-375-8332. Stratford Orthodontics, 2499 Main Street, Stratford. 203-375-8332. And online at stratfordsmile.com.
Alliance. We are an industry leader in coordinating transportation for large events such as corporate roadshows, conferences, and special events. Our team of experts understands the dynamics and logistics of high-pressure situations and complex arrangements, all within a rapidly changing environment. Since 1999, we have added charter jets, event management, and personal protection to our range of services. Mention this ad for $25 off your next round-trip reservation. Alliance and you. Together, we can achieve the extraordinary. 855-546-6996 or alliancelimo.com.
Hersom Acorn and HANradio.com.
Welcome back to your coffee break on HANradio.com. John Kovach with Kate Chaplinsky, joined now by Donald Eng for our daily look back in history.
Well, thanks, John. Big day, as always, and we're going to head back to a movie that I just saw a couple of weeks ago, and it was actually excellent. But before that, we're going to go to 1780, the American Revolutionary War, the worst defeat the Continental Army suffered of the entire war. Charleston, South Carolina, taken by British forces. Major General Benjamin Lincoln surrendered his entire army of 10,000. Moving ahead to 1933, the Agricultural Adjustment Act, enacted to restrict agricultural production by paying farmers subsidies to destroy crops and livestock. In an effort to reduce agricultural surplus, the government paid hundreds of millions of dollars to farmers and ranchers to destroy their crops. Oranges were soaked with kerosene to prevent their consumption. Corn burned as fuel because it was so cheap. There were many people and livestock in other places starving to death despite historically low food prices. Farmers slaughtered livestock because the feed prices did not justify the price they could get for selling their actual grown livestock. The program had many critics because it used tax dollars to pay farmers to reduce production, which raised prices for consumers, many of whom were relying on tax-funded government relief to buy food. Historically, it remains unclear what effect the act had on the Great Depression. 50 years ago, today, 1965, the nations of Israel and West Germany formally established diplomatic relations, and in 1937, a big day in London. You may have seen the movie, now you can watch and listen to the real King's Speech.
It is with a very full heart I speak to you tonight. Never before has a newly crowned king been able to talk to all his peoples in their own homes on the day of his coronation. Never has the ceremony...
Don't interrupt the king.
Sorry, but I know, right?
A little respect for the king.
I think you can be hung for that.
They frown on that.
That was George VI at his coronation at Westminster Abbey. George's older brother Edward had ascended the throne as Edward VIII the year before upon the death of their father, but later that year, Edward revealed his desire to marry twice-divorced American Wallace Simpson. Prime Minister Stanley Baldwin advised Edward that for political and religious reasons he could not marry a divorced woman and remain king. Edward abdicated in order to marry, and George ascended the throne as the third monarch in the House of Windsor. George's speech impairment made him very nervous in public, but his radio addresses did keep the country's spirits up during these 6 years of World War II. So that, the King's Speech, today, 1937, and that's your look back in history.
Thank you, Don. Time to check in with Rob Adams in sports, and not sure I have enough superlatives for the game we called yesterday at Mead Park in New Canaan.
Yeah, I've called a lot of baseball games. I don't know if it's the best I've ever seen, but it's one of them, John. Just a remarkable baseball game yesterday. Very humdrum there for a while, very ho-hum. Greenwich had built up a 5-1 lead at Mead Park in New Canaan, but the Rams rallied with 4 in the bottom of the 7th to tie the game up, and with 1 out, actually had the winning run on base. A double play ended the inning. We go to extra innings. The Cardinals put 2 runs on the board in the top of the 8th, and the Rams wouldn't go away. A double play brought 1 run home to cut the deficit to 7-6, and you want a little high drama? AJ, here we go with the video. Robbie Jones down to his last strike.
Greenwich down, they're a strike away. One ball, 2 strikes, 2 out. Last of the 8th. Extra innings, 7-6 Greenwich. The 1-2, now time called. Langen ready. He toes the rubber. The right-hander standing straight toward home plate gets his sign from Jason Capozza. Here comes the 1-2. And a high fly ball to right. Back goes Minnie. He looks. It is gone! Ferraro turned and looked at it. It's a walk-off 2-run homer in the bottom of the 8th. And New Canaan knocks off Greenwich 8-7.
Just bedlam in front of us, Rob.
Robbie Jones started this day. He was looking at being the losing pitcher early on, and then he ends the day with a 2-run shot to right, and New Canaan wins 8-7.
There you go. The Rams take the game 8-7. They improved to 12-3 on the year. That was not Vin Scully with the play-by-play. Stephen Barston tossed a complete game. It wasn't even John Sterling. As Darien walloped Wilton 12-1, he let up 6 hits that led to nowhere but the single run. He struck out 5 and he walked 2. Staples beat Danbury 7-3 in baseball. St. Joe's over West Hill 9-4. Norwalk by 1 in a walk-off over Stanford 11-10. Ward throttled Central 29-4. It was Ludlow over Harding 19-4. Trinity Catholic 21, Bassick nothing, and Trumbull beat Ridgefield 5-3. To softball, winners were Greenwich over New Canaan 7-5. Ridgefield beat Trumbull 3-1. Norwalk 3, Stanford 2. Extra innings. Or rather, 5 innings, Ward beat Central 22-3. Darien over Wilton 13-0, a mercy rule in 5. Trinity Catholic 15, Bassick nothing. Danbury 10, Staples 1, and St. Joe's over West Hill 6-1. Boys lacrosse, McMahon took care of New Fairfield 12-4. From girls lacrosse, now go figure. Just a week ago, Darien beat New Canaan, I think it was 12-9. Then Longmeadow, Massachusetts comes to New Canaan at Dunning Field. We had it for you on HAN Radio, and the Rams throttle the Lancers pretty good. Then Darien goes to Longmeadow yesterday in Massachusetts to play the Lancers, and the Lancers win 12-9. Go figure. Ludlow beat McMahon 20-6, Bethel 10, Norwalk 7. St. Joe's beat Kennedy Catholic of Somers 15-8, and Joel Barlow used a strong second half to defeat Weston 12-9 on, it was also the 10th straight win for Barlow. I'll double-check that score, a little typing error there. But in any event, in the span of 3 days last week, New Canaan boys volleyball team suffered a pair of heartbreaking losses, falling to 2 fellow FCAC playoff contenders by 3-2 scores. The difference in the end was 2 points in each match, as the Rams were edged in the third sets, 15-13 by Darien and 16-14 by Fairfield. Joe Barlow defeated their host Massick 3-2. Winners in boys golf were New Canaan over Harding, Wilton over St. Joe's, Ward beat Trinity Catholic, Ridgefield over West Hill. Joel Barlow girls team defeated host Weston 211-236. Ridgefield beat Danbury, and Ward over Ludlow. Volleyball winners, Darien, New Canaan, St. Joe's, Ridgefield, and Staples. Tennis winners on the boys' side, Darien, New Canaan, Norwalk, Wilton, Greenwich, Ludlow, and Staples. On the girls' side, it was Darien, Ward, Trinity Catholic, Greenwich, Ludlow, and Staples. Busy day, a lot of sports. Thrilling to call that walk-off for you right here on HANradio.com with sports. I'm Rob Adams. Coffee break time, 11:25.
That was a great game. That was a lot of fun, Rob.
It was so much fun. I mean, that's baseball for you, Susan.
And we'll talk more about that later and on Nutmeg Sports at 2.
We will.
Kate, what else is happening?
Well, we got some breaking news out of Stratford from editor Melvin Mason. Stratford residents hoping to hold a referendum vote on the sale of the town's water pollution control plant are taking their case to court. The 5 petitioners with the group WPCA Stratford Get Answers filed paperwork on Monday at Bridgeport Superior Court against the town, Mayor John Harkins, and Town Clerk Susan Pollock. The petitioners are asking for an injunction that would prevent Harkins from signing any documents related to the sale of the sewer plant to the Greater New Haven Water Pollution Control Authority. They are also asking for Pollock to be forbidden from accepting and recording any documents related to the sale. A separate complaint asks that Pollock accept the petition and determine if there are enough signatures to force a referendum. The 5 petitioners are Town Councilman Matthew Catalano, Marianne Antezo, Lisa Donnelly, Tina Marie Manis, and Philip Young. A hearing is scheduled for May 26 in Bridgeport Superior Court. The move comes after Town Attorney Tim Bishop told petitioners last week that the town could not accept the signatures. Bishop has repeatedly cited state law in saying that the sale of the WPCA cannot be challenged. Bishop says the town is a member of the GNH WPCA after its April vote to join the regional authority. So we knew there was a lot more coming with that story. We spoke to Melvin on Friday on Behind the News about that.
It's not going anywhere. That story is not going anywhere, Kate.
Nope.
In Darien last night, the representative town meeting approved a budget of nearly $137.5 million with virtually no dissent. The selectmen's operating budget was approved by a count of 71-1 with 1 abstention. The education operating budget was approved 72-1. And a new mill rate of 15.35 mils was set with a vote of 71-2. The budget was endorsed by the RTM's Finance and Budget Committee. Kevin Webb reports that in contrast to last year when there was spending increases and hours of discussion, this year the spending increase only 0.6%, and thus with the lowest increase in more than a decade. Very little discussion. The education budget, $90.7 million. You can read more about that in this week's Darien Times or at DarienTimes.com.
Thanks, John. Well, in other budget news, a $135 million no-tax increase operating budget for the 2015-16 year comes before Ridgefield voters today, along with 6 capital spending questions that include a $3.7 million plan to improve the town's emergency radio system. Voting in the budget referendum will be open until 8 this evening, with all districts voting at Yanity Gym. The combined budget is about $134.9 million, which represents a 1.20% increase over the current year's approved spending. The Board of Finance put together a budget that needs no tax increase by drawing $1.85 million from the town's roughly $13 million surplus fund balance. Still, First Selectman Rudy Marconi said he's concerned about a low referendum turnout by voters, something that has been a problem. You can find results later tonight at theridgefieldpress.com.
The Greenwich representative town meeting turned back 2 efforts to cut funding for a new municipal pool at Byram Park as it passed a $411 million municipal budget Monday night. The budget passed 154-24 with 4 abstentions. According to the Greenwich Time, the pool caused the most discussion and 2 unsuccessful motions to reduce the $9.5 million budget ultimately approved for the pool. That budget includes park improvements, soil remediation, and construction of the pool itself. And that's an impressive facility, as you can see in that rendering.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Well, even more budget news because it's just that time of year. Stratford has set
This too shall pass.
Stratford has set its budget for the new fiscal year, and it's slightly higher than what Mayor John Harkins was proposing. The town council voted 7-3 to approve a $207.5 million spending plan for the next fiscal year. The plan is about $419,000 more than the proposal that Harkins offered in March. The budget includes a $475 $75,000 increase in the Stratford Board of Education budget. The school district will have a $99.9 million to spend next year, up from the $99.52 million Harkins had originally allocated for the schools, but still less than the Board of Ed requested in March.
In Bridgeport, the City Council passed a new budget Monday that contains two big changes to the mayor's $532 million proposal while preserving his goal of not raising taxes during an election year, according to the Connecticut Post. The 18-2 vote capped off what the Post called a quieter than usual budget season as Finch heads into a campaign for his third term against a handful of Democratic challengers for the mayor's office. Some Democratic council members suggested trying to cut taxes, but Councilwoman Susan Branley said department heads who met with the budget committee made it clear that there was nothing on the table that could be cut. She estimated it would take nearly $3.5 million worth of cuts to the Bridgeport budget to have a noticeable effect on the average taxpayer's bill. Still, helped by Tom Sherwood, the city's veteran chief, late last week the budget committee found an extra $1 million for schools to hire more nurses and more special tutors called interventionists. The council has no control over what those funds are spent on, so school superintendent Fran Rabinowitz Monday offered her word that the school board would spend the money on the appropriate staff as approved. It was suggested that that guarantee be received in writing. The second big change from Finch's budget is another $200,000 to launch a municipal identification card program modeled after New Haven's to help undocumented immigrants. It was a last-minute appeal from Hispanic and Latino council members. Finch said he was pleased to support the IDs, and the idea has been discussed for several years.
Great. Thanks, John. Well, we are going to take a break, and we'll be back with a lot more news after this.
It's Lots of Characters, specializing in children's birthday parties with your child's favorite characters. When you want to party hardy, when you need to celebrate, call us, we won't be late. We help create lasting memories for you and your child on their special day. Call us at 203-590-1791 or visit our website at lotsofcharacters.org for more information and to see our party packages. Lots of Characters, 203-590-1791 or online at lotsofcharacters.org.
Located in the heart of picturesque downtown Ridgefield at 13 Governor Street, Colby's is the area's premier retailer for blinds, shades, shutters, and draperies, and is one of the select few Hunter Douglas Gallery dealers. A family-owned and operated company, Colby's experienced staff will work with you in choosing the best treatments for your home or office and offer free measuring and expert installation. Colby's also carries an extensive line of decorative fabrics including Schumacher, Durley, Tebow, and more. Or browse over 400 books in our wallpaper library from famous designers such as Stroheim, Schumacher, Ralph Lauren, Tebow, and York. Take advantage of our Fashion in Motion savings event with savings and rebates on Hunter Douglas shades with PowerRise technology. Colby's of Ridgefield. We are committed to your complete satisfaction. 203-438-8531.
Spring is finally in the air and our favorite season is upon us. The Dock Shop is all geared up with a great selection of fishing tackle, custom fishing rods, and all the latest accessories to replenish your tackle box. The Dock Shop has also just brought out the newest spring fashion apparel from Montauk Tackle, Altered Latitudes, Kaylee Smith, and Margaritaville Apparel. Need some new foul weather gear for those chilly spring mornings? The Dock Shop is loaded up with Grundens and Stormer in a variety of styles and sizes. Ladies, we've got you covered as well, with spring apparel and the newest designs of coastal jewelry, bags, and accessories. Boater, beach bum, fisherman, or simply love the New England coast, this is a unique place to shop. The Dock Shop, 51 Tokenique Road, Darien, Connecticut. Visit us at dockshop.com.
You're listening to Hersum Acorn Radio.
It's 11:35 on your coffee break, presented by Stratford Orthodontics. We are live on HANradio.com and streaming on the HAN network. I'm Kate Chaplinsky here with John Kovach. John, filling in for Don today on traffic and weather.
And there's a lot going on with the weather.
There is.
It's not bad. It's not like there's precipitation. It's cloudy out, but the temperature is just climbing. It was 71 when we came on. It is now 80.
Wow.
Outside our Shelton studio. Feels like 82, partly cloudy, getting up into the upper 80s, pushing 90 in some places today. Partly cloudy. Now a 10% chance of some precipitation. Very green shot of the outside of our studio. Keep looking. We can see the Shelton Bear, perhaps.
We need to have a staff member kind of climb up in there and just wave to us.
There you go.
I think that'd be great.
The Bear's on Facebook now. How great is that? Tonight, it's going to drop into the low 50s. Nice, cool night. Partly cloudy in the 20s. Tomorrow, mid-60s. A big change from today. Partly cloudy, wind, but no chance of precipitation. Currently 80 in Shelton, 79 in Ridgefield, and 71 in Fairfield. Just taking a look at the roads. Earlier road work cleared in New Haven 91 North. Road work 91 South at exit 9. Road work on the Merritt Parkway South at exit 44. Road work in Wallingford 91 North at exit 14. In Shelton, road work on 8 North at exit 14. And road work in Weston at exit 18. That's the Sherwood Island connector. What else is happening, Kate?
Well, New Canaan First Selectman Rob Malazzi led a group of fellow Republicans to the Republican Town Committee meeting Monday night to announce their candidacy for re-election in November. Malazzi and Selectman Nick Williams stood as a team before the RTC, and they will be running as a team. Also announcing their candidacy for re-election were Town Councilman Roger Williams, Town Clerk Claudia Weber, and Town Treasurer Andrew Brooks. You can read an interview with Malazzi at ncadvertiser.com.
Staying in New Canaan 40 years after opening for business in the village, Sally Kaltman says it's time to exhale and see the world from a tourist's point of view. So another downtown shop, Salea Antiques at 66 Elm Street, will bid adieu to New Canaan in August. You can see the sign with the store closing sales. Now, Kaltman yesterday expressed her displeasure at the pop-up park, which is next to her store, saying it hurts business. She also said she's tired of running between the store and working 8 or more antique shows a year, those in places such as Nantucket, Palm Beach, Chicago, and Detroit. She said that the antiques business has slowed down, was rebounding after a very bad 2008, and then the harsh winter we just emerged from was, in her words, terrible. Michael Katarivas with a very good retrospective on it at ncadvertiser.com.
Thanks, John. Well, the Vista Fire Department in New York is looking for a speaker or speakers for the town's Memorial Day Parade, scheduled for 11 a.m. in Goldens Bridge and 12:15 in South Salem on Monday, May 25th. Those who are interested may contact Adam Oakes at vfdcommish@aol.com. The department is also looking for a military color guard to march at the South Salem Parade and for someone to call cadence at the South Salem Parade. Any veteran or military personnel interested in performing color guard duties or wanting more information may contact Assistant Chief Dan Cruz, and that's at daniel.cruz0886@gmail.com.
I really can't believe we're talking Memorial Day parades.
I know. It's coming up quick.
Yeah, that to me is the sign that summer's here. And the fact that we're talking about those plans now, it's kind of like, wait a minute, it's almost fall. Because I looked that far ahead like a moron.
Slow down, John.
I know, I've got to slow down and enjoy it. But that, to me, is just a fun day. And we got a fun kickoff to Memorial Day that we'll be announcing later this week.
Yep.
Governor Daniel P. Malloy announced this morning that Edward T. Crumrich II of Greenwich has been nominated to fill a vacancy on the Connecticut Superior Court. He also nominated 3 others for openings on the judge's bench. Crumrich said he is profoundly grateful to the governor for the nomination and looks forward to the challenge and opportunity, his words, to serve the people of Connecticut as a judge of the Superior Court. The other 3 Connecticut residents nominated to the bench are Alice A. Bruno of New Britain, John B. Farley of West Hartford, and Gerald L. Harmon of Southington. Malloy said in a written statement that the smart selections will help deliver a brighter Connecticut tomorrow, and that selecting qualified, diverse nominees is not an easy task. They do it exceptionally carefully because the decisions impact the future, and that they're working to build a Connecticut for the long run for everyone. Crumich is a member of the law firm Ivy, Barnum & O'Mara, where he has served for 32 years with experience in commercial, construction, and real estate litigation in both state and federal courts. He has also served as a special master, mediating special proceedings in Stamford Superior Court. He began his career as a law clerk to Judge Anthony J. Celebrezze on the 6th Circuit Court of Appeals and practiced for 6 years in New York City in the areas of commercial and securities litigation. Attorney Crumich holds a J.D. degree from Case Western Reserve and his bachelor's degree from Hamilton College.
Thanks, John. Well, the Easton Board of Police Commissioners has named a new police chief to replace Chief James Candy, who is retiring July 1st. Tim Shaw, Assistant Chief of the Stamford Police Department, will assume the post pending completion of contract negotiations with the town, according to Richard Colangelo, Police Commission Chairman. The plan is for Candy, who is 66 years old, who has worked for the department for 43 years, to work with the new chief and introduce him to Easton prior to his retirement. Candy began his career as an officer in Easton, and that was on May 22nd, 1972, and he worked his way up in the ranks. The Police Commission announced its pick at its Monday meeting at the Easton Public Library. The commission has been conducting a search for a new chief since Candy announced his plans to retire last October. Coffee break time is 11:41.
Checking the roads, no real changes out there, Kate. Still road work 91 south at exit 9. The Merritt Parkway south at exit 44. The 91, now I'm flashing back to California. I-91 north at exit 14. And Route 8 north at exit 14 in Shelton, that is Nean Street. Outside of our Shelton studio, it is currently 80 degrees, on its way up to the mid-80s, almost 90 in some places. Humidity 65%, summer-like day outside. Says partly cloudy, but it looks like the sun is burning through. Tonight, partly cloudy. Temperatures fall into the low to mid-50s. Tomorrow, partly cloudy and windy, high in the mid-60s, currently 80 in Shelton, 79 in Ridgefield, 71 on the coast in Fairfield.
Thanks, John. Well, when we come back, Rob Adams is going to be back giving us another update on local sports. We're also going to be talking about some of the big headlines today. That's coming up after this.
Healthy, confident smiles begin at Stratford Orthodontics. Conveniently located on Main Street, we are Stratford's hometown orthodontist. We offer the latest in orthodontic technology, including Damon braces and Invisalign. We always accept new patients. Call today to schedule a complimentary consultation. 203-375-8332. Stratford Orthodontics, 2499 Main Street, Stratford. 203-375-8332. And online at stratfordsmile.com.
Did you know that taking dance lessons is a great date night idea? Arthur Murray Grand Ballroom of Greenwich is a fabulous place to learn to dance and meet new people. Located at 6 Lewis Street, our studio is staffed with professional instructors, ready to teach you salsa, waltz, rumba, hustle, tango. There's a dance for every season. And we are rated #1 on the Knot.com. We are the wedding dance specialists. Take advantage of our new student offer, only $49. Call 203-769-1800. Visit us online at arthurmurraygreenwich.com.
It's easy to advertise on HANradio.com. Reach 263,000 listeners each month with our sports programming and talk programming. Call Marianne Hersom at 203-417-5199.
Hersom Acorn and HANradio.com.
Welcome back to your coffee break, presented by Stratford Orthodontics, HANradio.com, streaming on the Hersom Acorn Network. John Kovach with Kate Chaplinsky. Rob Adams joining us after a thrilling day in Mead Park in New Canaan yesterday.
That was fun for sure, as the Greenwich Cardinals had a 5-1 lead, John, at Mead Park, but the Rams of New Canaan rallied with 4 in the bottom of the 7th to tie the game, send it into extra innings. Cardinals put 2 on the board in the top of the 8th. The Rams wouldn't go away. A double play brought 1 run home, the deficit 7-6. Robbie Jones then hit a 2-run homer. Some don't like the term walk-off. I think it is that's the term. It kind of was created out of the Kirk Gibson home run in 1988 against the A's in the World Series. That's kind of where the term came from. I mean, you're walking off the field. But some of my broadcasting brethren don't love the term.
What do you want to call it?
I don't know. I hesitated to use it on the call yesterday, which we will replay for you during Nutmeg Sports if you didn't hear it in the early part of this show. But Jones with the game-winning home run to win, 2-run shot. The Rams win 8-7. They improved to 12-3 on the year. Stephen Barston, a complete game. Darien walloped Wilton 12-1, let up 6 hits, but allowed that single run, struck out 5, walked 2. Other winners were Staples, St. Joe's, Norwalk, Ward, Ludlow, Trinity, Catholic, and Trumbull. On the softball side, it was Greenwich, Ridgefield, Norwalk, Ward, Darien, New Canaan, Darien, Trinity, Catholic, Danbury, and St. Joe's were the winners. McMahon over New Fairfield 12-4 in boys lacrosse. Girls lacrosse, Longmeadow, Massachusetts over Darien 12-9. Ludlow 20, McMahon 6. Bethel, St. Joe's, and Joel Barlow all with wins as well. As we move forward in the week, I've got something else I want to play for you, though. I got a little audio treat here because somebody is celebrating a 90th birthday today, and while it might be from Major League Sports, let's face it, an American icon is one Lawrence Peter Berra.
The thing I should do is thank everybody who made this day necessary. I want to thank the Yankees and the Mets, the only 2 organizations in baseball I worked for. I would like to thank all of my loyal fans who supported me all these years. I hope they are proud of me today. Also my friends who came to share this day.
And, of course, Yogi Berra, who went into the Hall of Fame in 1973, one of the all-time greats. I was looking at his numbers. They really are rather remarkable. Let's just think about 274 in the World Series for his career, 12 home runs in the World Series, 10 rings in 14 tries. Nobody's even close. And then the career numbers are just as good for his regular season career, 358 home runs, won 3 MVPs, 4 more top 5 finishes, all this as a catcher. We all, everybody genuflects at a Mike Piazza and all the great things he did offensively, and he did. I'm not knocking him. But what Berra did to lead the Yankees in the 40s and 50s, it was really remarkable. Is he the greatest catcher of all time? No. Johnny Bench was probably a hair better. But all that being said, Yogi Berra is an American icon. So 90th birthday today. Kind of slowed down a little bit, John, but he's still Yogi, and just the things he has said over the years. I mean, everybody knows a Yogi quote.
At least one.
It ain't over till it's over. Everybody should know that quote, at the very least.
I don't listen to Yogi quotes anymore because everybody talks about them.
That's true. That's true. In a matter of speaking.
That was a
But that was a good attempt.
Paraphrase, wasn't it?
But that was a good paraphrase. I got it. I was there with you. I'm okay with it.
I appreciate that.
Mike Suppy will join us on Nutmeg Sports today. We'll have a good show later today. We'll go back and look at that baseball game from yesterday, which was just so much fun. Really started out kind of as this little baseball game that seemed like it was going nowhere, and all of a sudden in the last 2 innings it got really phenomenal. So we'll talk about that at 2 today, but that's sports for now. With sports, I'm Rob Adams. Coffee break time, 11:49.
Thanks, Rob. Well, John, you have some interesting business news.
Couple of business stories. One broke yesterday, and not really breaking news. It was kind of expected. The State Bond Commission approved $9 million for Steel Point Harbor. Mayor Bill Finch says that will create thousands of jobs, add millions of dollars to the tax rolls. Steel Point is where they're going to build Bass Pro Shops, Chipotle, Starbucks. So my Yankee fisherman listening audience keeps asking me when that is going to open. But there is another piece of news here, just out from the Danbury News-Times in the past few minutes. Praxair which is a Danbury-based Fortune 250 company, will not move forward with the plans it previously announced to build a $60 million world headquarters in Danbury. Several sources told the Danbury News-Times this morning that the project had simply become too expensive for the company and the cost had ballooned to nearly $100 million. Other options are being considered. But what's interesting is that this project was announced during a press conference in October with Governor Daniel P. Malloy, Danbury Mayor Mark Boughton, Congresswoman Elizabeth Esty, and that the company was promised a $30 million incentive package from the State Department of Economic and Community Development as part of the deal. So be curious to see where that story ends up.
Wow.
And it's not the first time that the state's promised money to an entity for a project and then had that project die or that company move out of state.
Right. Wow. Big news there. Well, as we mentioned at the top of the hour, a 12-year-old Naugatuck girl drowned Monday afternoon at Linden Park. 12-year-old Jada Ivory slipped into the water and never resurfaced, according to police. Naugatuck School Superintendent Sharon Locke said Jada Ivory was a 7th grader at the City Hill School. Counselors are at the school today and will remain as needed. Details on any memorial services have not yet been released. Police, along with several fire departments, responded to Linden Park around 4:30 Monday. They said a dive team pulled Jada from the water just after 6. She was taken to Waterbury Hospital where she was pronounced dead. Coffee break time is 11:51.
A judge handed down the maximum sentence Monday to Matthew Pugh, convicted in the 2006 murder of Alexander Doucet in Milford. At State Superior Court in Milford yesterday, Judge Denise Markle sentenced Pugh to 60 years in jail for murder and 20 years for burglary to be served concurrently. The judge recalled weeks of testimony that painted a horrific and violent murder scene and said the brutality of the crime was one of the factors she considered in imposing the sentence, according to the Milford Mirror. The judge also reflected on Pugh's past, which includes arrests starting at age 16 on drug and other charges, and a pending case involving a crime that took place after the murder for which Pugh was committed. In this case, he allegedly shot a victim during a burglary, but the most damning evidence, the judge told Pugh, was his testimony given against his lawyer's advice that the judge said showed the courtroom that he has no sense of right or wrong and no respect for the law. The victim's father, John Doucet, said Pugh deserved the death penalty. State's attorney Kevin Lawler, who prosecuted the case, did agree with the sentence. Guys, is it too late to cue that up? Or okay.
Points. Judge Markle's a very experienced judge, and it's not every day that you get someone who combines committing the most heinous act imaginable with a criminal record that's that reprehensible. So I think that based on all the factors as we outline them, I think it's the appropriate sentence and is a just verdict based on everything considered. Based on all the factors as we outline them, I think it's the appropriate sentence and is a just verdict based on everything considered.
Thanks, guys. Pugh was arrested by Milford police in 2012, charged with 1 count of murder, 1 count of first-degree burglary, after Doucet was found beaten to death in her Boothbay Street home in Milford. He pleaded not guilty, but was convicted in March on both charges. Coffee break time is 11:54.
Thanks, John. Well, the man suspected of killing at least 7 people and burying their bodies behind a New Britain shopping center has been identified as 45-year-old William Devin Howell, who is in prison at Garner Correctional Institution on unrelated manslaughter charges. Police on Monday held a press conference to talk about the additional human remains that were found 3 the remains of 3 women were previously found in 2007 and identified. On Monday, police identified one of the newly discovered victims as Melanie Ruth Camellini, born on May 11, 1973. The Seymour resident was a mother of 2 when she went missing from Waterbury in January 2003, and on the day it was announced that her remains were found, she would have celebrated her 42nd birthday. Coffee break time is 11:55.
Stratford firefighters responded Sunday to a fire at a business on Surf Avenue. A passerby called 911 after seeing smoke coming from Energy Tech, a one-story business at 400 Surf Avenue, around 20 after 11. 5 engine companies, a ladder truck, and an on-duty assistant chief, so that's essentially all of Stratford's firefighters on duty at the time, responded. They found that a 40-gallon garbage can, the contents had caught fire, that fire extending up through the building's roof, causing several $1,000s in damage. No injuries. The cause remains under investigation.
Thanks, John. Well, as we mentioned earlier, Shelton school administrators say they are not backing down on a prom dress code that is causing controversy and getting national attention. This drama started Friday when Shelton headmaster Beth Smith sent word to students reminding them they can't wear anything too revealing to prom. About 7 girls were told they'd have to find dresses that showed less skin. Superintendent Freeman Burr held a press conference Monday saying that so far 549 students have purchased tickets to attend the prom, and of those, 313 are female students. To purchase prom tickets, they sign a contract that includes the dress code as well as expectations. Burr said in part that obviously we understand that prom attire is different from what students wear to school on a daily basis, but what we will not allow are dresses that are considered to overexpose one's body. There is his full statement up at SheltonHerald.com. However, John, I mean, the New York Times just wrote a story on this.
Double byline.
Yeah. So basically, the students are saying that all the dress code says is that students must wear appropriate formal dress, and students dressed inappropriately would be sent home without a refund. So it was rather vague. And many parents and students are very upset about this.
There's got to be some room to back down.
I know.
And just
prom is this Saturday, too.
And to make the reminder announcement on Friday.
Right, a week before.
8 days before the prom.
Right. It's crazy. Well, John, has anything changed out on the roads?
The only change is that delays in Westport, 95 South at exit 18, Sherwood Island Connector, those delays have cleared. You're still going to run into road work on 91 South at exit 9 in North Haven. On the Merritt Parkway South at exit 44, that's Black Rock Turnpike. And in Wallingford on 91 North at exit 14. Taking one last look at the weather where it's clouded over again. The sun was burning through for a little bit, but now it's clouded up outside our studios. 80, partly cloudy, the official word, outside our Shelton studio, getting up to the mid-80s, pushing 90 in some places this Tuesday, dropping down into the low to mid-50s tonight before a cloudy, windy day with highs in the 60s. Tomorrow, currently 81 in Shelton, 80 in Ridgefield, 72 in Fairfield.
Thanks, John. Well, just seeing this come through from the Connecticut Post, a Bridgeport man angered in traffic on Interstate 95 early Monday evening in Stamford picked the wrong driver to take his frustrations and a machete out on. Stamford police were called by an off-duty New Haven police officer who said that a black male in a red Nissan had just brandished a machete toward him during a road rage incident in the southbound lanes of the interstate near exit 7. Sergeant Kelly Connolly said after the off-duty cop called police dispatch around 6:30 that evening, a Stamford police officer in a cruiser spotted the older Nissan at the corner of Pulaski Street and Washington Boulevard. The officer stopped the car, and state troopers were called because the incident occurred on I-95 and took the driver into custody and recovered the machete. A state police arrest report said 30-year-old Gesner Gomez of Poplar Street in Bridgeport was charged with breach of peace and possessing a weapon in a motor vehicle. Gomez was released after posting a $1,000 court appearance bond and is scheduled to be arraigned on the charges at the Stamford Courthouse on May 28th. The report said that state police took possession of a 28-inch machete, and it was determined that Gomez displayed the tool out of anger while driving on I-95. Not a good idea. No.
Not good at all. Well, thank you, Kate. I will not see you tomorrow, correct?
I'll be doing the Trumbull Times tomorrow.
Okay, but for our executive producer, Marty Herson, Josh Fisher, AJ Simonowski, Joe Forlano, Rob Adams, thank you all for listening to Coffee Break and watching the stream on the Hersom Acorn Network.
Hersom Acorn and HANradio.com. The leader in local news, sports, arts, and entertainment in southwestern Connecticut.
Want to get in touch with HAN Radio? You can find us on Twitter at Hersom Radio, on Facebook at Hersom Acorn Radio, or email us at radio@hersomacorn.com.